today. I'm Ramon Claudio with Babylist for Barbers. I appreciate Salon Centric so much for letting me tune in on their social platform and show you guys a little bit of men's fading with longer hairstyles. These days, most men are looking for tight cuts and still want the longer tops. Long hair is still a big trend, and a lot of men are looking for that tight fade, but just want to wake up and kind of just leave it as they go. So today we're going to go ahead and work a nice little fade, and we'll add a nice part back here to bring out this tail shape style. So when we fade, we'll be fading it nice and low, right under the occipital bone. If you guys can see. Some of the clippers I'll be using today will be the Babylist FX Boost collection. I have the trimmers and I also have the clippers. Both of them sold at Salon Centric, so check out your local Salon Centric and ask about the Boost FX collection. These also come with standing chargers as well, so never have to worry about running out of battery. Finish cutting, drop it down. All right, so the first thing I like to do is I always like to mist the hair down a little bit so I can start getting some shape out of it and see what the natural hair wants to do. So I'll go ahead and start making a nice horseshoe part. So you guys can see, I'll follow the natural pattern of the hair and comb down to the direction that the hair wants to flow. I try not to force it too much. If you guys have any questions, please drop them down there in the comment section, and I'll be checking and following up with you guys. So first thing I want to do is use my Babylist Boost FX trimmer and start my line of demarcation to meet the V point that I want to make at the end, in the back of the head. So I'll start in the corner right here. So I like to call this the hook and the corner point. So it'll go slightly right over the earlobe. So I'll make my first line and I'll follow that all the way through. So I set my guideline up all the way around. Now I'll start moving all that excess hair from around the nape and the ear area. So all I'm doing right now is cleaning everything under my line of demarcation and make sure I have a nice clean shave. So I'll follow up with my foil shaver, which is also part of the Babyliss Gold collection. So that shaver will allow me to get right to the skin to a level where the trimmer won't allow me to. So it'll be a whole lot closer to me. Okay, so now that I've made my line of demarcation and I've set up my whole haircut of where I'll be fading, now I'll go ahead and go over with my Babyliss Pro shaver, foil shaver. So I'll just stretch down on the skin a little bit and go all the way to that line of demarcation. And this will be the lowest point of my haircut, since we can't go any lower than shaving. Thank you, Mary. If you have any questions, just leave them there, and I'll follow up with you in a minute. So right now, what I'm doing is going over with the foil shaver from what I went through with the Babyliss FX Boost trimmer. And that'll be the shortest point in my haircut right there. Now that the shaver will take it down to the skin. Thank you guys for joining. If you guys have any questions, please drop them there for me. Today we're going to be working a low fade, and then we're going to add a nice touch in the back of the part and keep it curly on top. If you're just tuning in with me, I'm using the new Babyliss FX Boost collection. Amazing clipper. Got the rubber handle grip on here as well for all the people that have nice and sweaty hands. This is the clipper right here. Get the good grip on them. So the first thing I want to do is, I'm going to use my number 1 attachment and just go up about 1/2 inch and just create some space so I can start blending in and I can see better instead of having all this weight on there. I'm going to go ahead and soften that first line up just so I can have somewhere like a little pathway of which way I want to go. Small, short C-strokes motion, so you can blend as you go as well. If you guys have noticed, if you're just going straight up, you're creating more lines. If you have that nice smooth C-stroke, you'll start already creating a blend as you start with your first line. So as you can see, I followed my first line with my number 1 all the way open and just went about 1/2 inch up just so I can have some space and see where I'm going to be blending. And I followed my guideline and went straight down into the V point where we're going to be working with. This shaver is amazing, Mary. You definitely need that for all of your haircuts, especially if you have clients that are men that get razor bumps. If they get a lot of razor bumps, that foil shaver is amazing because the actual blade never touches the skin, which it's less irritable on your client. So I'm just following up, doing the exact same thing on the other side. And as you guys can see, I'm following my first line of demarcation. So that's the goal. To wherever you're going to start blending, make sure you're following the same pattern. Because the minute you lose your pattern, the style of your fade is going to change right away. So you want it all to flow together. So there we have it. So this will be my shortest point. This is my medium length, and this is the longest point of the hair. You guys will notice that this will stay fairly dark through the whole process. Absolutely, Mary. Go ahead and get that shaver so you have the whole set now. You definitely won't regret owning it. So now what I'm gonna do is, now that I've set my 3 major guidelines, my shortest point, medium length, and my longest point, now is where I'll start blending. But the first thing I like to do is go in with my blade all the way closed. And when I say all the closed, meaning my lever closes all the way and both blades are touching each other right there. So now I'll start softening up that first line with my blade all the way closed. As you can see, we're staying tight, and it's just a slight little tap on that line, just to erase that line that we created with our trimmers. Now I'll go ahead and do complete blade open and soften that right there a little more. And the whole time I'm using a small, short C-stroke. And in some areas, especially like when I'm going around the ear, it's a little uncomfortable for me, so I'll only use a little bit of the corner of the blade, just so I can get around the ear. And that's just a personal preference. That's not the only way you can do it. I'm just sharing with you guys what works for me. So as you guys can see, that line is being softened up a little more right now. Right there, it's barely there now. So remembering which guards you use is definitely key, because now I know what level do I stand on. So right now, if I'm using my half all the way open, which is the blade all the way open, it's a half blade, I know that if I have my number 1, I can soften it up just a little more, but close. Because remember, we did this number 1 open, so if I close it now, I'll be able to soften that up just slightly. And it's just a game of inches, people. Like, you gotta be very, very tight with it. You can't overcommit your stroke. And you just have to make sure you stay committed to your whole flow that you're doing, and not lose your style on the fading that you're doing as well. Because it's very easy to turn a low fade into a high fade. And it's very easy to turn a high fade into a mohawk, okay? So you have to definitely commit to your line of demarcation. So as I did my line of demarcation dropping on the occipital bone, I'm making sure every step that I take is following that exact same pattern. So now I'm up to my number 1. I put the number 1 attachment on there, and I'm all the way open. And I'll start softening that up. Staying tight with it. Don't overcommit. Remember, I want to stay low with it. I want to drop. So if you guys see, what I'm doing is I'm staying right here. I'm staying tight to myself, okay? I'm at my elbow space and I'm staying tight. I'm not overcommitting and just swinging my arm back and forth. I'm staying tight and committed and making sure that I don't take that line any higher. So now that, here, I'm gonna scoot it up a little bit more. Now that we've gotten this far, we're at a level where we can just clipper over comb that, okay? So we have here our shortest point, which we did with a 0. And then this area has all been a number 1 all the way open. So if I go ahead and start scooping up right here at my line and start putting my comb right under that line right there and just pick up that weight that you guys see right there, I can just clipper over comb. I can just clipper over comb and start fading that right there, which is what I'm going to do just to be more efficient with my time. Start picking that up, clipper over comb, clipper over comb, clipper over comb, and you'll see how much faster you can soften this up. Now, if you're into your guard system and want to go ahead and cut with guards, that's totally fine. Right now, after my number 1, I would just attach my number 2 and start softening that up. But, like I said, for more of an advanced purpose, we're just going to use a clipper comb and start grabbing at that weight line and just come straight across and start softening that up. All right, so here's my line, my weight line. I'm gonna go ahead and put my comb right in there and just fade it up slowly. I'm using my comb as an attachment. So instead of going to a number 2, instead of going to a 1.5 and then going to a number 2 and then a number 3, I'm just gonna go ahead and start blending that all right in, just clipper over comb, just to save time and be more efficient with my time and my client. So that's the thing. There's many ways of fading, but we have to find the more efficient way that is gonna take us the same way. It's just like going out of town. There's different roadmaps to get to one place, okay? But it's what's the most efficient one that's gonna make everyone happy, right? So you just gotta find that way that makes you happy, that makes your client happy, and just find that style that fits you and your daily life, you know what I mean? If you don't want to be at a barber shop for an hour and a half, then you got to find that barber who's going to get you in and out, be efficient. So that means that they're going to start looking for people who can get them in and out, in and out. You know, not everybody wants to spend 2 hours at a barber shop, you know? So make sure you start understanding the way you're cutting, start understanding how to be more efficient behind the chair, what works, you know, and always try new things out. There isn't always just one system for everything, you know. There's different ways, and if you have your way, please share it with me because I'm always looking for new ways as well myself. So as you guys can see, this whole area that we worked on, it's already nice and blended in. This is all nice and blended in already. So like I said, instead of just sitting there and switching guards back and forth, we're just gonna clipper over comb this and be more efficient with our time here. So this is all that we've worked on already. And here's where we're entering, this hard line right here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. If you haven't got a chance, my name is Ramon Claudio. You can find me on Instagram under Hot Barber. And I am one of the Babyliss for Barbers educators. And today we're doing a low fade if you're just tuning in. Right now we're working on some clipper over comb, working on some of these dark areas that we see right here. And like I said earlier, this is just another way of being more efficient instead of going guard after guard after guard. And there we have it. We're nice and clean, nice and blended there. And that was all clipper over comb work. Now, what I want to do is now, I have just a little bit of a weight area that I don't really care for too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of shear work. So I'll be using a thinning shear, getting into some of these little darker areas right here. So he's got some small indentations that create these little dark areas right there. But I'll go ahead and use my thinning shears and get in those dark areas and be able to soften them up without removing too much hair. All right. All right, so this is all cleaned up, nice and softened up. We're gonna leave it alone for now and go ahead and start working around the nape area. Now remember, I said I was gonna create a nice high V there with the fading. So we're gonna leave this alone for now and then we'll sharpen it up back later. So as you guys can see, we stopped our blending right here and we're gonna get right into that section. Same thing, I got my clipper all the way open here. And remember, when going around the ear, don't try to use the whole blade because it might just become a little bit difficult to do that. So I always suggest turn the clipper over sideways and just use the corner of the blade just to be able to get around the ear and still keep that nice shape, dropping the fade around the ear. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to be checking the phone in a second. If you want to go ahead and leave all your questions or your comments or whatever it is that you want to know. If you like what you see, please share this live right now. Tag Babylist for Barbers, tag Babylist Barberology, tag Salon Centric, and please make sure that you tag myself, Hot Barber, Ramon Claudio. So please share this and let's keep creating awareness of some good men's hair cutting. So we'll be doing the exact same motion that we did on the whole other side. I went right back to my number one guard, all the way open. And I'm just working around the ear here. As you guys can see, I'm staying real tight, okay? I'm trying to make sure to keep that nice drop in the fade, okay? If I even take it up, it'll change the whole style of my haircut. So I want to go ahead and make sure that I'm following the exact same flow. Right? We're going to close it all the way. We're going to close it all the way now. And start softening up that line. Now remember, I created this with my number one all the way open. So all I'm doing right now is I have it closed up and I'm just trying to soften up that line a little bit. And you don't have to dig too much, okay? Your clipper should do all the work. Be mindful of your client's skin and don't dig your clipper thinking that just because you're being more aggressive, your clipper's gonna cut better. In fact, you just gotta be smooth with it. The clippers are sharp, the trimmers are sharp. Whatever tool it is that you're using, make sure that it's good enough that you don't have to dig into your client's skin. Okay, so all I'm doing right now is I'm right back to my clipper with no guard on it. And I'm gonna go ahead and open it all the way because I know that this area right here was my clipper closed. So I've already erased that. So what I'm gonna do is, I mentioned earlier, he's got a couple indentations right here and right here. So those indentations, I wanna go in with the corner and be very careful that I don't dig too deep, but it's gonna still lighten it up for me. There we have it, nice and clean around the ear. And there we have it. Nice drop. So now, what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is go back to that clipper over comb work that I mentioned earlier. Now, if anyone has any questions on how to go about clipper over comb work or anything, please feel free to ask me. I'll definitely go over if you have any concerns on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my number 1 back on, just for safety reasons when I'm doing clipper over comb. So if you're just entering the clipper over comb, make sure that for safety reasons, attach a guard on there, because I've seen many times that somebody will try to go over, clipper over comb, and they accidentally go under the comb. And I've seen many bad haircuts happen like that. So I know that with a number 1 and a guard, I can easily bounce back if I'm doing some type of clipper over comb and I go under the guard. But if you don't have a guard on there at all, and you don't, if you're just using the blade by itself, it's more likely that if you get your oops when doing clipper over comb, you're gonna not be able to come back because it's gonna be tight to the skin. So just, for safety reasons, as we're all, flowing with it, I always say put a number 1 on there till you get real smooth with it. So here's my heavy weight line right there. If you guys can see, that's a whole heavy weight line right there. So that's where I'm gonna be working my clipper over comb. So I'm gonna put my comb in there and just move towards more like a 90-degree angle, slightly over, okay? Slightly towards you, so you guys can see how I grab that weight line. Here's my weight line right here, and I'm gonna go right under it, grab it there, and that's where I'm gonna be cutting hair at. So I'm just flowing right now, grabbing that weight line, staying low with it, not overextending too much. I still want to keep this short and tight and still keep this nice and dark here, but I want to remove that weight line that's right there. There it is. It's nice and soft now, it's softening up. So I'll go right over it and give it a couple little finishing touches. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a nice smooth transition all the way through and staying low with it. So here we are. Here's my weight line again. I'm going to pick up that line, hold my comb, the bottom of the comb. Remember, the bottom of the comb has to touch the skin, and you're going to tilt it slightly, about 90-degree angle, okay? And then you're going to treat it just like a regular fading motion. Like I said, this is going to use as a guard. So we're not using a number 2 or number 3 or number 4, and we're not wasting time going back and forth detaching guards. So all we're doing is using our 1 comb as a guard. And that will create so much speed in your haircut. And it would easily take you from a 1-hour haircut to a 40-minute haircut. if you can just stop switching so many guards back and forth and attachments. Okay, so we're moving along here. There goes the next weight line that I want to attack. And like I mentioned before, I'm just going to slightly get under there, grab that weight line, put the bottom of my comb right against that, and slightly bring it right in towards me. So as you guys can see that, I'm going to give you guys a different angle look so you can see. So there's the weight line. We're going to grab that weight line and we're going to slightly angle it. And that's what we'll be cutting right here, that whole section right there. If you're enjoying this video, hit that like button, please. That'll go a long way. Hit that share button. And I really, really appreciate you guys. Tell your friends about this. Right now, I'm using a number 1 guard with clipper over comb work.
Here's what I found.
So this is the number 1 guard, and all I'm doing right now is just finishing up that clipper over comb work. And the reason I'm doing that is so I can skip guards number 2 through 4, which normally would take a little bit of time of going back and forth. So to skip the guard sections, I'm just going to go ahead and clipper over comb, and that'll definitely advance your work. So if you're looking to add some speed and not lose any quality, I'd say go ahead and grab yourself a nice comb and start using that every day, instead of relying so much on detachables. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys. Now, just like we did before, right there in this whole area, slightly dark area, I want to go ahead and go right up with it, okay? But I want to stay square. I do not want to go into the round of the head. If you guys can see, will change the whole style and shape of the haircut, okay? So I want to be able to keep it square. So this is the highest that I'll go with it. And all I'm doing right now is just finishing off this detail work. And I am using a Hanzo 40T, one of the best thinning shears I've ever used in my life. So shout out to those guys too over there. All right, so now that we've completed all of our fading and everything, we're going to start our edge up work. And this right here can definitely make or break your haircut. So what I want to do is I want to go right exactly to where my sectioning originally was and pin that up along with the front of the hair, just so we can have a nice lineup in the front. Right, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pin this right back up in the front. Oh, uh-oh. I'll pin that right up, and these little baby hairs that are right here, I go ahead and slightly comb them down a little bit. And this is just so we have a nice clean lineup for our edge up. There we have it, if you see that. Now that I got all his baby hairs nice and lined up and everything's nice and tight, what I like to do is, I like to take a little bit of hairspray and just slightly mist it on both sides and the front. Then we'll go ahead and recomb those little hairs down, so we have everything that we want to detail up nice in place. So I'll go right back to my trimmers. And I'll start from the middle. I'll start from the middle of the head, and I'll work my way right. Again, I'll recenter myself and work my way right. Then I'll recenter and work from the middle to my left. So this is where we stopped at right here in the center. Now we'll work from the center all the way left. So guys, make sure that you're being real careful when doing this and not taking too much hair off. What you want to do is just tap the ends and just give it a fresh little lineup, okay? You don't want to remove too much hair that you're going to take everyone's lineup straight back. And then it's gonna look bad once you start styling it. So try to keep it all natural and try to just tap only the ends of it, of these little baby hairs. And there we have it. There goes our front lined up nice and clean, those little baby hairs. Now our focus is gonna be right here in this hook area, okay? So if you guys see the corner of the eyebrow, that's where I like to have my square, right at the corner of the eyebrow right there. So I'll go ahead and finish this off right here in the corner, and I'll give it a slight little slant, and I'll box it up right there. And like I said, just want to be light with it. You don't want to push the line up in too much, because when it grows back, it's a very ugly look. Keeping it natural, there at the corner of the eyebrow, nice and sharp. Now what I'll do is, I'll do a half a circle here. If you guys look here, there's already a small line there. So all I want to do is just follow it down and think of a half a circle, okay? So all I'm going to do is start from the bottom and slowly use the corner of the blade and cut it right down into your half a circle here. And there you have it. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate everyone. If you have any questions, please drop them below. I would love to answer your questions. We're working our way around. Everything's already nice and faded. Now we'll do the exact same thing. In the front here, like I said earlier, I want to make sure it's even up with the corner of the eyebrow. Here's the corner of the eyebrow, so I want to make sure that's where I'm boxed in at. And the same thing, bring it around and give it a slight hook. And the goal is, guys, try to keep it as natural as possible, because when your client's hair grows in, if it's pushed in, it's gonna look very bad. And the haircut might look good now and sharp, but in a couple days, it's gonna definitely show the flaws that you did by pushing the hairline a little bit in. So I always try to say, you know, keep the corners on the eyebrow and just try to keep your hook as natural as possible. So there we have it. We're completely faded. Everything's done on the fading part. Now, what we're gonna focus on is that V part in the end, which we said we were gonna go here, okay? So that's the reason I left this on. Okay? So right here, I left this here just so I can go ahead and make my mark. Now I'll go ahead and make that a little bit sharper. So we can define the point that we want to do in the back. Yes, Denise, we brush the hair forward just to get the baby hairs and create a front line up. So now that we've went ahead and sharpened that up, I'm going to go ahead and add a second line on there just to make it stand out a little more. So I always say just go right over it and just a light sketch at first. Don't go too deep till you're sure where your line is going to be at. So I always just like lightly tap it. As you can see, it's real light right now. Yes, all the way around. The temples and the front of the hairline, Denise. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please share this. Tell people to watch it. Tell your friends about it. Tell your uncles, your kids. Let everyone know to follow Hot Barber and follow Babyliss. And also follow Salon Centric. Check everyone's workout. Join the community. And if you're looking for any of these tools, they are available at your local Salon Centric. So go ahead and ask for that Babyliss Boost Effects trimmer. And also the Babyliss Boost Effects clipper as well. Get the set with the chargers on them. All right, so now that I went ahead and made that line, that sharp line, now I'll go ahead and start doing my razor work so we can finish with the final detail work. So all I'm gonna be doing is just going over everything that I touched with my trimmer. I'm gonna go ahead and top it with the razor just to give it extra couple days of life. Just in case anyone's wondering, the blade, the style that I use, I enjoy this blade right here. My good friend Sophie, Stay Gold. I've had this blade for about 3-4 years now, and it's been one of the best that I've rocked with. Your local salon centric should have those replacement blades as well, as you can go on the Babyliss website and find them on there. So I like to leave my blade a little bit exposed out just so I can see where my blade is going. I know most people suggest that the blade should be a little bit lower and kind of tucked in. I prefer my blade out a little bit, as that right there, just so that I can see where my blade is actually going. Yes, let me show you that shaver right before we go into this. So we have a few shavers. This is one of the shavers that you can find at your local, don't mind my fingerprints, I've been using it a lot today. But this is one of the ones that you can find at your local salon centric. This is a double blade. We also have a single one. I suggest this double because you can cover way more area. Okay, it's got your charger. You can use it. You can use it while charging. If it's gonna die, you're gonna get your blinking light on there to let you know that it's gonna die on you. Power buttons right on the side. It's an amazing shaver. I've had this one for about 3 years. And then we also have the one in the FX3 collection. Your local salon centric should also have this one as well. So this is also a nice one. I like this one. It's got a nice little hanging string, and also it's got the automatic shut off once you put the cap on. So I really do like this model. It's a plastic housing, I believe, so it doesn't peel off, it doesn't get scraped up, so holds the color good. So these are your two options. Feel free to go ahead and check yourself out on one of these. All right, now I'm just gonna spray a little bit of alcohol. And I like alcohol because it removes all oil from the skin and it dries it out real nice for me. So any residue, any oil from the skin, the alcohol will dry it right out. And then in the neck area, because it's a little bit of thicker hair, I'm going to apply a little bit of shaving gel on there before I go ahead and go over that. All right, so like I said, I leave my razor exposed a little bit just so I can see where I'm going. Now I'll go ahead and get a little bit up close here for you guys so you guys can see. And I'll stretch the skin the opposite way. All right, tap the like button if you like that. Let me know how you like that. Let me know if you have any questions. Please tap that share button. Let's create some awareness of what we got going on here. I really appreciate everyone's time tonight. You could have been doing a whole lot of other things, but you're here hanging out with me, talking about hair, and I really appreciate it because there's nothing else in the world I'd rather be doing but talking hair. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Okay, so now that we go ahead and touch that up right there, we'll go ahead and get to the sides now. And the same thing, like I said earlier, anything that I tapped with my trimmers, I'm going to go ahead and go right over with the razor. Now I'm going to go against the grain a little bit just to get a little bit sharper here. Being very careful that I don't go into the hairline. There we have it. Thank you so much, Marjo. Thank you so much, Mary. I really appreciate you guys. I don't know what city you guys are from, but if you guys have a local salon centric and you guys would love for me to come to your state, I would love to come out to your state and give you guys a class at your salon centric. Please let your rep know that you would love Ramon Claudio from Babyliss. Take down my name, take down my email. Whatever you need to keep in touch, go ahead and I'll make sure that I'll get to your city somehow. But the best bet is for sure, go to your local rep, your local salon-centric store, and tell them you want some in-store education with Ramon Claudio. If I draw blood, I just eat it. No big deal. No, I'm just kidding. No, I try to be real careful and mindful of where I'm shaving at. I try not to shave too much, just like real slightly wherever I put the trimmer on. So I try not to take too many strokes. You know what I mean? I try not to take too many strokes. So I try to stay real light with it. Now, if I'm doing a full face shave, I would go ahead and add a hot towel, add some lather to make the work a little bit smoother and definitely prevent from cutting. Now, I'm not perfect and my superhero days are over, so I definitely think one day I'll cut somebody, but to this day, thank God, I'm still a little bit undefeated. I haven't cut anyone other than a couple pimples here and there, but that's it. Yes, this straight razor is amazing. I love this straight razor. It's very easy to handle. If you go check out Sophie Stay Gold on Instagram, contact her, ask her how to get one of these. Like I said, it's been with me forever, man. It's an amazing razor. All right, so there we have it. We're completely done with our clipper work. Now, he doesn't want too much off the top, so we're just going to go ahead and clean up and style it for you guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. If you have any questions when I get out of here, feel free to go over to my Instagram, Hot Barber, H-O-T Barber, and give me a follow. Ask me any questions that you have about what we did here today, and I would love to further share with you guys. So right now, like I said, I'm just going to do a little bit of a cleanup work on top of the head. And remember, here's our section is right there. So we cut this hair about 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Let's say, if it's growing 1/2 inch, we're going to just slightly give it a little cleanup, okay? So you got to be mindful and ask your client, when was the last time they got their haircut? How often are they getting their haircut? And, how often are they even styling their haircut? Because you definitely don't want to give your client a style and a haircut that they're not going to be able to maintain on their own, because you might do that hairstyle for show and just for your pictures, but are you really pleasing your client? At the end of the day, you please yourself and you please your Instagram haircut or whatever, but are you really pleasing your client? You know, so just make sure that you understand exactly what your client wants, and you know that the client's gonna find the time to even style the hair, you know, to style the hair for the haircut that you're doing and stuff. So that client consultation for sure is gonna be huge when it comes down to that, to understanding how often your client is gonna be getting their haircut, and are they gonna be able to style it and everything. Going straight around the back here. All right, wrapping it up here. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of grooming spray on here. I like to always use some grooming spray before I actually style the hair. One of the best blow dryers out right now as well. This whole FX collection is just amazing. If you haven't tapped into one of these blow dryers, you definitely should. So I'm just gonna use my hand and not use a brush or a comb. I don't wanna put too much style into it. And I just wanna do it all with my blow dryer in my hand to keep it pretty natural. So I just like to direct the air to the flow of the hair, so you can kind of see where the hair is going. So just go ahead and direct the hair and just dry it out naturally, and you'll see that you can get way better control when adding the final product to it. There goes our style. Now we're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of hair product in there and just tame it all down. Just like to use a little bit of pomade. Not much pomade. This is about how much pomade I like to have in my hand, and just. And now we'll just slowly work it in there and piece up the hair wherever it is that you want to lay it to your acquired style. Lock everything down, a little bit of hairspray. And you see, you don't have to put too much work into the styling with a brush. You can just do it with your hands and just let the natural air flow. There we have it, guys. Thank you guys so much.